This playthrough is rated M for mature.
The game is afoot, my dear viewers, on another episode of Crimes and Punishment. With me, Vauldemare. In this episode, I wasn't paying attention last episode and I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off. But today, I think I've gotten myself a little bit calmer. I've eaten some food, sat down, read some books, stuff like that, just to kind of give me an idea of what's going on. So, we need to figure out what these runes and rings engravings mean. Perhaps give us a tie into the kid, or perhaps his father, who might be tied into all this. So it says, friend and partner, right? Okay, perhaps. Let's see what. I assume it has to do with the newspaper because of just what's going on. So we're just okay. So none of these time periods have anything to do with what I'm searching for, so I can skip a lot of these. Okay, so the only 1883 one is these three options here. Let's see, R. Dawson. Okay, so the obvious conclusion is if someone's mentioned Dawson and there's a newspaper clipping that mentions Dawson, well, that's the one to check. Okay, the Strand. Dawson and Nelligan, I think, investment fund bankrupt. Nelligan missing. The Dawson and Nelligan Investment Fund, a regional banking institution based in Cornwall, has declared bankruptcy as a result of heavy losses in its loan portfolio and has accordingly been assigned to liquidation. It was the 23rd largest bank in Britain, and its bankruptcy was the second largest on record. The liquidation of company is a pure catastrophe for many Cornwall families. Joshua Nelligan, one of the bankers, has since mysteriously disappeared. He was last seen aboard his yacht preparing for departure to Norway. Nelligan is wanted both by the police and his creditors.
Here it is. Now I begin to understand that young man's story, but I am still unclear as to what connects him with the murder. It is time to ask him.
Sounds like we need to go talk to the kid again, and now we have the Strand document here. So we have something to mention to the kid, since he's probably related to this man. That's why he's wearing. Why he has such a fancy jacket.
Someone. At least now you have a suspect.
Thanks for your words of inspiration, my dear Watson. And it sounds like this game's going to be more focused on you just playing as Sherlock the whole time, and Watson will kind of be there in bits and pieces, because, he's obviously... As far as I know, I think he is married in this story, because he gets married later on in the novels too, but I think in these game files, I think this also takes place after the supposed end of the original Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, where he died at the waterfalls chasing Moriarty, where he and him supposedly died, on the falls or whatever. I think in the story, he gets shot and then Moriarty falls to his death or something like that, if I remember correctly. I haven't read that story in forever, so I don't remember too much. Anyway, so all you Sherlock fans will probably be telling me all the details later on. Or a simple Google search, but I'm not going to do that right now.
I have heard the story of Dawson and Nelligan, the West Country bankers.
Yes. Joshua Nelligan was my father.
I am aware that it had a bad ending. When the bank failed, it ruined half the families of Cornwall, whereupon Joshua Nelligan disappeared.
My father was under extraordinary pressure. Dawson had retired. I was only 10 years of age at the time, but it was still old enough to feel the shame that befell our family. My father was convinced that he could pay off all his debts if the creditors gave him time. He set sail for Hammerfest in Norway in his small yacht, just a few days before an arrest warrant was issued. He left my mother a list of the securities he was taking. No word was ever heard from him again. We believed that his vessel went down, taking with it everyone and everything on board.
Thank you for the story, Mr. Nelligan. At last, we are making some progress. Interesting. Joshua Nelligan and Peter Carey were both at sea in Norway. There is definitely some connection between Peter Carey and Joshua Nelligan's disappearance.
Examine the ship's log. So we have to go back to the Woodlands, because there was a question mark under, if everyone remembers correctly, there was a question mark on the ship's logs about how it wasn't officially solved. It was just something that Holmes mentioned at one point. So we must go back and check these logs, see if maybe Peter Carey mentions running across this man on his journeys. Maybe that's why the kid was was trying to get that notebook or whatever from him. Or whatever else he was trying to get a hold of. I guess we'll find out. Perhaps they'll help us dive more into this mystery. Like I said, I keep wondering if this is just one of the many mysteries in the game, or if this just is the only mystery. Because when the game's called Crimes and Punishments, it just seems like there should be multiple cases in this game or something. I could be wrong. Like I said, we're just beginning.
That's the one I need.
Okay, let's see what we find out.
The crew list of the Sea Unicorn.
Okay, Peter Carey, Trent Ellison, James Lancaster, Patrick Cairns, Contrast and Land. We probably should look at the harpooners. That's probably an important thing. But let's read let's look at the rest of them. Richard Lang, Simon West, Isaac Page will write. We're trying to see if there's anyone called Nelgan on here, but that's probably.
Notes for June. Nothing unusual.
Light breeze, sighted ships, moderate wind. That's usually how a lot of these things are, just to kind of give an idea of like
Log notes
whales.
for July. Nothing special.
Got 6, saw whale.
Log notes for August. These pages have been torn away.
Let's see, and then there's the
Log
let's
notes for
examine that.
August. These pages have been torn away.
Huh.
Canadian Pacific Railway, CPR. A torn piece from a bond certificate. I have seen this abbreviation somewhere very recently. There are 3 ways of discovering what happened in August of 1883 aboard the Sea Unicorn. The first 2 of these will require speaking with a dead man. The last would be to locate vital witnesses, the sailors involved in this whale hunt campaign.
Okay, so now we need to go. I think we need to go back to Scotland Yard and examine the. Let's see what. Yeah, mentions. That's our new thing for that. Anyway, so now I think we need to go back to Scotland Yard and check the notebook, because the notebook mentions CPR in it. So, what's that term when you use 3 letters to anagram? No, that's not an anagram. What is that called? I used to know. I studied like American history during the period of Roosevelt. Not Theodore, but Franklin Roosevelt, when he created a lot of organizations with the 3 letters. That was an interesting time in learning history, trying to learn all these different organizations. It was kind of a mess, especially when taking tests, on that. I'll think of it later on. Maybe I'll mention it in a later video when I actually remember it.
These are the suspects.
But if we make a mention of the notebook
these
here,
are connected.
it may give us an idea of. Yeah, there's the CPR.
Now
right
we
there.
have the proof that Nelligan's papers were indeed here. It seems that they have vanished, however.
Okay, now we got a deduction I could put together. Let's see. Peter Carey is a non-smoker. We know that. I don't know why I'm clicking those. That's clearly not the answer. Okay, breaking attempts probably to get the missing papers. Yeah. Okay, so there's a new attack on. Oh, okay. So there's. See, we're made in order to receive the notebook, or Nelligan was looking for his father's papers. I think that's actually the case. That makes sense. I wonder what that's supposed to. Okay, that just changes the connection. Basically, these are just parts of the puzzle, but we don't know if those actually... Okay, so... Missing tin box and papers are also important. So, valuable bonds were kept inside the stolen box, which is now missing. Yeah, so now we got a new deductive reasoning. So, let's see. Nelligan's motives. John Nelligan could have been caught stealing the bond certificates. This might have been motive for him to murder Peter Carey, or Nelligan's innocence. John Nelligan is a victim of circumstance. He does not fit the portrait of the murderer, either by physical or psychological description. I'm thinking he's innocent. That just... I don't know. I mean, I could... Let's see. What happens if I choose the other option? Like, what... Red color highlights logical conflicts between the deductions that can be resolved by switching alternative... Yeah, I was about to say... It just... He does... Like, right now, the clues don't indicate that he's the murderer. Like, it's a bad place at the wrong... Wrong place at the wrong time. So now, we have to find... I think... Now we have to locate the... Okay, so now we need to talk to Wiggins, now that we've done some minor deductive reasoning. Go back to Baker Street, see if we can run across him. Run across Wiggins! Police Chief Wiggins. Well, close. I mean, it could have been someone related to Nelligan, but I don't think the kid himself did it. Perhaps, you know, victim of circumstance. It always makes you wonder if the whoever actually did do it expected the kid to come back and knew he could just blame it on him, or if it was just kind of like he was just trying to get away and that just things happen to fall into your lap, which unfortunately happens a lot in real life. You know, people getting you know, charged with a murder they didn't commit because there's just wrong place, wrong time.
I have the list of sailors who were aboard the Sea Unicorn. We shall soon learn what happened to Nelligan's father. I have only to find them. Let us hope they are still working at the harbour.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard...
I doubt it, Watson. And really, I would prefer that all of this remains quiet for now. But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
And who might they be?
The secret police division of Baker Street.
Ah, you mean young Wiggins and his gang?
Yes. Believe me, you'll receive more useful assistance from these little urchins than from a dozen yard detectives. Those children are everywhere. They see and hear everything, and they are cunning. All they lack is organization. I'll summon them.
How will you do that?
There is always a watch beneath our window. I have only to call him.
Basically, Wiggins is basically the runs a street gang in Baker Street, and I don't know. I know in the games they mentioned he's used him a couple times. In the books, I don't remember where exactly he's mentioned, but I remember him being mentioned. He basically helps Holmes get information that he couldn't get from normal because they're kids, and a lot of people tend to ignore kids or think they're not influential. But Holmes knows that, you know, everything is seen by everyone, no matter how secret the crime. So there's someone with the information. You just have to find the right people. So let's call the kids, see what if they know anything or if they can get info for us.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
All right, Miss Downs.
Wiggins,
I knew he was going to have a Cockney
I need
accent.
you to track down certain people for me. I'll give you a list. You can read, can't you?
Big Oliver from our gang. He can, because his father is the coachman of a famous lawyer.
Fascinating. Here is the list of sailors.
Sailors? Easy. Just got to look where the rum and the red lights are.
You know, red light district for sex and rum for bars. You know, that's how I'll
Sorry
be.
to trouble you, Mr. Holmes, but the inspector asks that you come to the station as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'll be there shortly.
Okay, so Wiggins is out looking for the crew. So now we just need to talk to Lestrade, see what he has to say. It seems like this game's going to require a lot of travel. Back and forth. I guess there isn't... I guess the open exploration is more of a... just making some of the crime scenes a little bit bigger, like when we actually get into the meat of the game. Because we're still kind of more at the beginning. But I remember them talking a long time ago saying they wanted to do a game like that with Sherlock Holmes where there's a bit more to explore and run around than just the short, small areas. Like, if you play the other games, a lot of the areas are pretty small to explore in, so it's obvious you'll solve the crime because there's not much to really look for. You're like, oh, here's...
I'm glad to see you.
As always. What happened?
We have a new suspect, Liam Hurtley. I'm thinking that this case will be resolved very quickly now.
Interesting. Pray tell.
Well, the constable that I left at Woodman's Lee noticed a suspicious individual prowling around during the night.
Do you have him here?
Yes. He refuses to speak with us, but we'll make him talk.
Let us hope so.
Ah, yes, and one more thing. The constable told me that at the time of his arrest, the fellow was writing a letter.
Do you have it?
Of course. It's in the evidence room, at your disposal. Admit that for once, Mr. Holmes, Scotland Yard is a step ahead of you, no?
Breathtaking.
Sherlock is such an ass sometimes in the stories because, like, if someone generally is ahead of him, he's just kind of like, whatever. I don't care about that type of stuff. Because he's kind of a weird character because he does and he doesn't, because he just wants to find out the truth, you know. And at least the story shows that Scotland Yard isn't completely worthless, you know, that they can actually do stuff. Ooh, he's got boots. I wonder.
These are the suspect's belongings.
So let's see what the letters, what he was writing.
The stains are fresh. They can be removed with the proper chemicals.
Okay, so I need to go back to the shop and check that out.
Nothing unusual about it.
Okay, now he's got boots. So we'll take those. See if
His old boots. They're a size 9.5.
Now, does it say I need to go talk to him, or can I go? Okay, so let's go. Yeah, I might as well interrogate him first, and then actually probably let's go check the boots out. See, maybe that'll give me an option for a conversation when we get to it, and then we can go back to base and check the chemicals on the notepad. It's probably. I wonder if it's. I'll have to check the note. Is it one of those notes where it's just a? Actually, I could check right now. Where the note actually has nothing written on it. Okay, yeah, we just have to. We have to basically check the scribbles. It seems like. See if we can figure out what he actually wrote, and that'll be back at base. So a little bit of running around, a little bit. There is a lot of backtracking in these games, I gotta admit. I mean, that's just most mysteries are like that. You know, you just have to kind of see what you missed the first time and all that, which, you know, people aren't perfect. All right, let's see if we can. Oops, gotta hold it down. Sorry. Whoop. All right.
These
Ta-da!
boots match the footprints exactly.
So now we know this Hurtley fellow, if that is his true name, was actually here. So we can point him at the crime. So there's no gardener, but there's a hidden fellow here. Unexplained presence. So if he's not a gardener, then why is he there? Let me go talk to the. Before I leave, let me go talk to the lady real quick and see if there's a dialogue option for her to mention that. I know I talked to her last episode about him not being a smoker, so that gave us a clue for that. Yet there was tobacco there, so the tobacco may be owned by this new fellow, but you know, we're just supposing. I don't actually have any. Okay. So let me go back to Scotland Yard, or not Scotland Yard. Go back to Baker Street. I'm not sure what kind of chemicals I'd have to use on. I guess we'll look at the options and see what we can do. Unlike last time where I just click everything until I hope I get the right answer, which you could do that. There's really no negative consequence. It's kind of like L.A. Noire, where you could beat that game without getting all the clues. You just, you know, get a better rating. So, you know, you get higher levels to unlock more stuff, you know. So I like that game. I don't care what anyone else says.
I can always consult with it if needed. This is where I keep my post.
I guess I'm not allowed to. Oops. I guess I'm not allowed to.
I can always consult with it if needed.
Oh, okay, here we go.
I need to prepare a chemical agent that is capable of removing fresh ink. For this purpose, the chemicals from the flasks should be combined in a certain order to perform a chain reaction.
So another little
First
puzzle of the
condition,
game.
All 7 reagents should be used. Second condition, orange reagent should be the third one in the sequence after the blue reagent. Third condition, colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a puzzle. We have to use all of these, and we have to. So every time a blue one is
First
used,
condition, all 7 reagents should be used.
yeah, we have to use all of them.
Second
I'm just
condition,
rehashing it just to make
orange reagent should be the third one in the sequence after the blue reagent. Third condition, Colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent.
Okay, so this shows that there are 2 orange reagents, 2 colorless. So, and we have to use all 7. So it sounds like something had to be used. So like, okay, so every time a blue one. Now, the question is, do I have to do this every time, or is it just I can do whatever I want, but as long as there's an orange one afterwards and a colorless one is used afterwards? So let's see. So we got 7. So we used a colorless. So we used a blue, a colorless, green, orange, colorless, then blue, then orange. But would I have to wait till the... But there's not enough there to be able to do that. Well, let's try it, I guess. Now this may take me a couple of tries, so we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll do, let's see, let's try green. Colorless. And then we'll use an orange, and then another colorless. See if that works. And then we'll do like an orange and a blue.
No, something isn't right. I need to start the reaction from the beginning again.
Okay.
First condition. All 7 reagents should be used. Second
Okay, so
condition,
every time I use an orange one, I
reagent.
have to use a...
Third condition. Colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent.
Okay, so every time I use a orange one, I have to use colorless afterwards, no matter what. That makes sense. Okay, maybe that was the issue I had with it. Let's try it again. So I use blue, and then I use... Now, could I use blue again? So that way I would just use orange. No, that wouldn't work because I'd have to use... Or I use something and then orange again, or then blue again. I think that's how that worked, right? Yeah, I think. Okay, so we try a blue, and then we use this. And then we use a blue again. And then we do a orange. And we do a colorless. And then we do an orange, and then we do a colorless. I think that's it. I guess we'll find out here in a second. I guess it took me a while to like figure out the rules, but I think that's what we're going for. That way we follow all the stipulations of the rules. Let's find out if that's true.
Done. Now I can
Ta-da!
proceed further.
I am smart.
Let us see if the content of this letter sheds a little light upon the mystery.
Okay, so we just use it. Let's just rub it. Oh yeah, rub it down. Oh man, let's just clean that. You're a dirty piece of paper, aren't you? Dirty evidence. Let's find out what you are saying there. Oh baby. I'm sorry. I'm just dirtifying it for no reason. Sorry. Have I got everything? Well, I can read it. So.
And hid them well. Interesting. How would Hurtley react to this?
Now we got a bit... now it's actually in clear words. I can actually read it. All right. So now we got a new clue to approach to Mr. Hurtley there. The game's afoot, my dear viewers. Find out next time to see what that entails. See y'all then.